Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of Starving Artist. I am Andrew,
I'm Lucas.
and that is
Justin.
And we didn't rehearse that at all, so that went smooth.
No, it's okay.
That went great.
Yeah.
I don't think they could tell. I think it was seamless.
No, only the fact that I mentioned it was when it broke the realism
Just cut that like half second and just like
No, we don't cut here. What do you think?
I've noticed actually.
We have a production. We have a production of sorts. No,
You're right. No, I'm starving.
no. Yeah, we don't. Sorry, we can't. We don't spend time fucking editing things.
This week we don't edit at all. But this week we do. We have a guest. This is my very good friend, Justin of also known as DoodleDudster on
DoodleDudster. I love that.
DoodleDudster.
Thank you so much.
Rolls
And
off
thank
the
you,
tongue.
Lucas, to pronouncing the last name utterly correctly. That's the Polish to Polish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mind meld. The whole thing.
Yeah.
That's great. You know, we gotta talk about your music, because as a
Yeah,
musician, I'm so interested in that kind of stuff. And I gotta ask. Okay, I've lots of questions, but I'll start off with the easy ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is my music on the DoodleDudster YouTube, as said.
Yeah, you have an EP on there called Retail.
Yeah.
And so it's 6 tracks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 tracks. And is it a concept album?
100%.
100%. Okay.
It's 100% a concept.
Some people, when they make a concept record or they make a concept like EP album, they don't ever want to talk about it and tell anybody what it's about. But some people are like, yes, I want to talk about it.
This is your spill. Ask me anything
This is your
about it. I'll
tell-all
give
right now.
canonically, yeah.
So
This is the video essay analyzing it.
I'm ready. What an opportunity. Andrew, you've been muted in some fashion.
Andrew, please, I need to hear your question.
here we go. Is this better?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
How long was I out? Okay.
Just a couple seconds.
3
Oh,
seconds.
okay. So I gotta know, what was the concept from the artist?
From the artist, so are you saying like an overarching theme?
What's the theme? What's the story? I guess I definitely noticed that there was the Dolly Parton 925 at the beginning. Then I noticed the obvious theme of like there would be mics like throughout. It kind of feels like the idea is maybe making an analogy to like the workforce in a grocery store kind of sort of thing.
Yeah. 100%. I guess if I were to put an overarching theme on it, it's kind of like addressing the naivety in main character syndrome, and like perceiving. It's like a very meta album. It's like perceiving your life as this musical that is made up of this musical soundtrack, and you just think you are the main character of this musical. You just perceive yourself as that, and it's about when that perspective, that naivety, like interacts with someone external from that, who like isn't on your bullshit. And
that is really cool. I love that idea. I love that. That gives like, now I gotta listen to the EP again, knowing that idea, and like pay attention to those themes.
Totally.
It's really cool.
We should have been like, listen to it first and then get the inside look before. But maybe we'll do a little plug at the top, be like, hey, we're going to be discussing this.
Yes, at the beginning of most videos, and I definitely will have it on this one, is going to be a plug and a link to the video in the description to the playlist. And I would encourage, before we talk about the album, guys, please check it out. And then even at the end, like, please check it out. Sometimes hearing about an album, even if you give away the details, like that makes me more interested in the album. Sometimes same thing with movies. Like I'll watch a video of a guy reviewing a movie, and then 5 minutes into it, I'll be like, okay, I need to watch this movie, and then pause it and go
1,000,000%.
So I'm hoping this is going to be
that's a really good concept pitch too. Like, because as a concept, main character syndrome, I think that's something that everybody like deals with in some way, shape, or form, like growing up and becoming a part of that, and like the process of channeling that development and meeting someone that is going to challenge your idea of your sense of self. I think that's a really relatable concept, and I know I'll be going back and for a third, fourth listening with that in mind. But before we get too far into it, he kind of the retail angst. I know both of you independently, and I know your job history. But any guesses on which soulless corporate entity fueled this
on Justin's end?
No, on your behalf, having listened to it.
Oh, like which store am I specifically thinking of?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't want to dog anybody, but I fucking worked at Walmart. And
fuck that shit.
And so that was like kind of what I was thinking, like a Walmart grocery store. Like it's just so like when I would listen to it and I'd hear the noises and I'd hear, because you painted a really good picture of like, you really like at the beginning of a movie, it does that thing where it like soars over the town and then it like comes down to the bedroom of the character and you kind of get like, this is the setting. That's what I felt like at the beginning, is like it's giving all these sounds, it's playing this like grocery store music, and it's just like, you know, with the Dolly Parton and just like all this stuff, and you just kind of like, and all of a sudden like the guitar starts coming in and it's like, okay, this is. And I love, by the way, that there's kind of like a punk emo sort of sound to the album. I don't know if, I mean, just spitting it off, I guess it definitely reminds me of some like older Green Day like kind of sound.
Pretty much exactly the inspiration, because I take one pop punk album seriously, and I am incredibly cynical and always have been about every other installment in the genre. My roots of pop punk are making fun of it.
Yes, dude, that's awesome.
It's and so that's why I was so struck with like something that with an angst that I like could relate with. I was like, and I just heard the right record at the right time in my life, and I related it back. The only thing that raged me as accurately as that was my retail job at also my local Walmart. And
fuck yeah, dude.
No,
you could hear the pain of Walmart.
I was literally like
crushing noises.
No, like literally like I can hear the noise and through the chords. He plays like one chord and I'm like, oh my god, it's that place. I know that place. I know this. I'm getting a vibe. It's a very
the fucking deli.
Did you work in the deli?
For a brief time. The inception of the album definitely occurred while I was working deli.
Okay, I worked in the back, like unloading the trucks.
Yeah, I hopped around a couple places. My brain was pretty off during all of it. It was I was very aimless. I wanted something to think about. And after a while, like the album became the thing to think about, like while I was at work. And that's also kind of like a little bit in the story, like that sort of like finding a coping mechanism when you're at your job that you like hate, that you can just turn your brain off. Like sometimes the cliche thing to do is to like, just like some random like romantic interest of just like, I don't know, dude, I'll just like be into a chick. So I just like, it doesn't suck to go to work. And that is like the inciting sort of thing in the album. In the second track, what is it fucking called?
It's called Mind Aside.
Yeah, Mind Aside.
Slog Rock.
Slog Rock. Yeah, Slog Rock is the part at the end where it like just like the lyrics go away and it just does like this like fucking funky kind of guitar-y thing.
I do like that you put like a song isn't just verse chorus bridge chorus. It does this like movement. A song starts in a place and then ends in a different place, and that's the movement is the song. I like that you think of music in a different way than like modern pop radio. You think of it as like classical music thinks of like movements where they're like, you know, there's four what would you call those? Lucas, you have also like a band background in high school.
I would call them movements. I think
movements.
you're on it.
So no, but I think that it's so cool because I'm listening to it and I'm going because like okay, so in one of the songs, someone commented like all the lyrics, which is really cool because that's one thing I was going to say is that you should put the lyrics out there because
100%.
I want to read the lyrics as I listen to it because it'll help me get the picture. But I definitely was listening to it and I was following along the lyrics and I was like, okay, there's not like a common structure to this. It's different. It's just you sing like the lyrics to the point that you need it to go and you get your idea through and then you change it. You're like, hey, now we're going to do this thing. Like you're not like, oh, I need one more line and then I'm going to need one more chord and then it's going to be like a pre-chorus and then a chorus. Like you just do whatever you want. That's how it feels like. All the song feel like you're doing a thing that you want to do the whole time. It's really cool.
Damn, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
How did you I mean, this is less about like the songwriting, but how was the production for the EP? Like, how did you do it? Did you self-produce it and did you record it yourself or did you go to a studio or?
It was 100% self-recorded. It was a in my room project is what I would call it. It was all recorded on Audacity.
Nice. That's awesome.
Through one amplifier, through like every instrument plugged into one guitar amplifier that just like went USB into my computer. And then like I had like a blue Yeti. And then so yeah.
Dude, that's really good quality for like that totally skimmed down like
thanks, man.
bare roots basic like kind of production. And and it has a lot of like definitely diversity because I didn't feel like all the instruments were through one thing. That was really cool. Did you use live drums or like plug-in drums?
I used I used drum tracks. I used drum tracks.
Okay.
At the time, I did not own drums at all. I didn't play drums.
Dude.
Yeah.
I mean, as a drummer,
much shame about it. It's
don't.
It would have been sick to like have it be like, yes, I've made every single sound on this album, but I just like couldn't at the time. And clearly, I had like a thing I wanted to do, and I was like, well, if I can still do it, I might as well just do it. So
no, dude, honestly,
picked up a kit though, right?
Yes, I've picked up a kit. And I've been plugging away. I can't really do that kind of drumming though. I can only really do like kind of like funk hip hop kind of drumming right now, which is love that.
Maybe that's your next EP.
Totally, 100%.
No, but I think a lot of people, even me, who like I'm literally a drummer. I've played drums for like 10 years, and I love playing like pop punk, like alternative emo rock, which is the genre that I do. I just use drum plugs now. I mean, like I have samples or like one shots, and I just dub those in that way.
Yeah.
With my last album, I actually bought an electric drum set.
Nice.
and I DI'd it right into the interface into my computer, and I just did it like that. Which is actually like, in all honesty, like for other starving artists like you, me, and Lucas, like all of us, I would say to any other musician using drum kits, it's probably better to use an electric set if you want quality that's cheaper, because you can buy like a decent $200 drum set on Craigslist, and you could make an entire album with really good drum sounds, custom drum sounds. You can pick which set you want, and you're going to get really clean. You're going to get a really clean sound versus trying to buy, $500 drum mics that you're going to have to soundproof a room, and then you'll spend forever recording it, and then you won't be able to mix it exactly how you want it. And then it's probably going to be like not as good quality as just the electric drum set, plain and simple. Now, obviously real set has more life in it, and it has like, it's a cooler story. And if you have a drummer that really like takes that personal, then sure, like do it to appease them. But like as a starving artist who I'm a solo artist like you, do you have other band members or is it just you?
Yeah, no, it's all just me. Like all the record was all written and like performed by me, save the drums. So there is a couple of other voices, but it's all credited to Latter-day Saints.
Okay, so
yeah.
So I was going to ask you, what is Latter-day Saints your band name?
So it's not really my band. Latter-day Saints is a fictional band.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, explain this to me.
It's a concept band.
Yeah, no, it's well, because I don't really like if you look at my YouTube, you can see that I've like not been doing pop punk like the entire time. Like I've had my roots in kind of like very funky, kind of lo-fi synthy shit. And I just like, right now I'm not super really tied down to a band. Like I feel like a band kind of I don't know, when you get to a band, like a band has like cool, they do their thing and it's like, man, they made a killer record. And like now whatever fan base that band has is going to either hate that they have diverged from that killer record or hate that they're not experimenting. And I think that's all bullshit. And so I'm just like, cool. Each music thing is just different.
I like that. That's cool. And that's interesting. And I actually agree with that. That's one of the things is like one of my favorite bands of all time is My Chemical Romance. And they got an immense amount of praise, but while at the same time an absurd amount of shit for borderline changing genres every album. And they kind of did that as well. Like with their first album, they were very emo pop punk. Second album, it was like emo pop punk, but like more produced. And then their third album was like Black Parade was like grandiose, and they had like marching bands and all this stuff. And then their last album, exactly. And then their last album was like futuristic, and they had a lot of more synths and stuff. And people like either you loved it or you hated it, and there's really a hard in between.
They get attached to the brand. They get attached to the
I like that idea of just being like, all right, next project starting fresh, like completely from origin. Like that's cool.
Makes it harder to market, but you got to trust that if you have a fan base that enjoys the art that you do and that creative expression that comes from experimenting, that they'll follow along. You were just saying they got attached to the brand because they blew up as like a global success, My Chemical Romance, and like they're going to sign deals with labels where they got to put out a certain number of albums, and they're going to have expectations that come along with that. But the freedom of being, a YouTube bedroom artist is that you can pivot in a way such that you can express what you're really feeling at that time. Because you don't work at Walmart anymore. You're not in that scenario with that girl anymore. You're not experiencing the feelings that contributed to this. You would never make this album again.
100%. That is like incredibly accurate. Like this album was largely, after this album, I don't know what I would even do in pop punk. Like, I don't even, I feel like I've pushed that sort of idea as far as like I currently could. I guess I could see it getting jazzier, but like, like it really was. I didn't want to make that album like, I don't know. This was kind of dumb, but I was really like, I'm about to exit my teens. I need to finish this album. This is the wrap up. This is like the like cool, like
the encapsulation of your teenage angst.
Yeah, exactly. This was like like it took about a year, and for that year, just like after high school, I just kind of blacked out, and my life was just kind of like hovering on this like teen movie shit, and I was just trying to write about it.
You said that you had heard the right record at the right time. What kind of other things spurred on like, this is the way that I'm going to spend this next year?
I think definitely pretty much right as I like the month that I started playing with the idea, I made like a couple demos. Like that month I sort of like got into like involved with people in my life, and it was pretty wild. I was kind of taken on an incredibly wild, like inspired ride, and it was like some of the most intense just experiences that I've like ever had. And so I was just like, man, I just need to, I don't know.
Were those wild rides psychedelics? Was that what that?
Yeah, part of it.
Copious amounts of drugs.
That's the
part of it.
Rockstar lifestyle, man.
Like, I think there was definitely an amount where I was just like, yeah, dude, fuck it. I'm just like, I am the funk rocker right now, dude. Like, whatever. This is like, I almost like attach personas to projects, and I think almost to a fault. Like, I don't
No,
know.
I don't think there's a fault, dude. I think that's so incredibly awesome that you can attach and it's not, I don't think you're making it up. I don't think it's a lie. I think it's just a small part of you that you just accentuate times 1,000. And you're like, this is who's writing this album. This is who's performing this song. And so, I mean, I think adding a level of character, adding a level of like maybe false personality a little bit, like I think it adds to it. It adds, and it makes you enjoy it more as a listener, like, or not even a listener, but as the artist, you enjoy it more. And I think other listeners will flock towards that definitely more.
Yeah,
Well,
that bravado is important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as the artist, it's almost like a coping mechanism. It's almost like I want to say that this was all like, this isn't like Justin Stahoviak's words. This is like, you know, there's a character, there's a different thing. This is different, like, you know,
just one of the rats.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just one of the rat. Yeah, precisely. But it also just helps me to focus on a project, because we all know how hard it is to commit to a project. Like, just commit to an idea that you have.
For sure.
And like, you know, when it became, I don't know when, but I did there at some point, it was like, I think this album is important, and I think this album is like what I'm gonna do just for this year. So I just like completely like submerged myself. My morale at my job plummeted, never revived.
I remember this process where you're like, this is the direction I'm going in. I'm gonna explore this avenue of creativity, which what was your, obviously we talked a little bit about you having experience with synthy stuff, but in terms of producing and over the process of tweaking all 6 tracks until you have a final project, what was your experience in like the learning curve of producing? Because correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't really share it with a lot of people during the production time, right?
Yeah, it was largely by myself, listening to it over and over again, pretty much near like the last couple of months of when I was needing some other voices, some like, you know, yeah, just like some just other, pretty much just other voices.
Yeah,
was the only point I got.
Name drop
Anybody
Jared.
else?
He's fucking cool.
That's
cool
true.
Yeah,
Dude. Yeah. Jared helped. Jared and his wonderful girlfriend Lindy came in, helped like lay down some amazing vocals. And those were like very, very good vocals that we like used, because I learned like Lindy's voice is like, she's like gorgeous Broadway voice, like really high pitched, like the highest end of the choir. And I didn't know that like kind of sound wave didn't really mix with like grungy, like hard rock stuff. And so there was this whole thing of like needing to get another voice. It was crazy. But
but coming in, like having new instruments or new ways of trying things, that you're coming in, you're like, well, this isn't gonna quite fit the idea that I have for this track.
Mm-hmm.
Let's adjust and change things. I use Audacity too whenever I make any audio projects, and it's it's lo-fi, but you can get the job done, and you can really create something unique, and I think that's what you have here. And I agree with the sentiment that Andrew said at the beginning, that it doesn't feel like you're locked into some structure of what music is supposed to sound like, especially as I guess a self-described newcomer to the genre. Your experience being fairly limited in terms of listening. Mine as well. I'm not. I don't traditionally listen to a lot of punk or pop punk music, but seeing what you've done has been cool, and seeing the whole process has been very. I'm very proud of you as a friend and as an artist.
Thanks, man. I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate it incredibly greatly.
So I've got a few other questions that I wanted to just kind of
also heads up
through.
You see the timer on our meeting?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So when that goes down, I'll just start another meeting and invite you guys, and we can get a few more minutes.
We'll
just edit it.
Yeah, dude, I'd be super down.
So what was your thought process on the album name? Obviously, like, did you hear it in a book or like a movie, or just like something pop out and you were just, or did you just like wake up one day and you were like this? Because obviously you were talking about it's the grocery store, it's the Walmart like concept. But what did retail, like in all caps, what did that like check off your list?
Well, I immediately knew that at no point did I ever want to say Walmart at all in the album. So I just wanted to suggest that as much as possible.
If you did, it would have been a country album.
Yeah, no, I just didn't want to. It was just like, it wasn't classy. It wasn't like, I didn't have the artistry that I wanted. I wanted symbolism. I wanted people to think.
No, but also getting too specific kind of cuts out some people. So being specific but also like broad is a good way of doing it. You want
people to relate it to their shitty retail job.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not about yours. It's about the process of overcoming it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Overcoming retail. Some people work in retail their whole lives. I'm starting a retail store, so I'm gonna be listening to this album on repeat.
We're all sitting here like, fuck retail, bro. Like, never fuck it. And you're just like, I'm starting a retail store. No, that's great.
Well, it definitely was the working name. The working name was like, okay, cool, retail. That's like how how I can say Walmart, but have it be, more universal. And by the end, kind of didn't want to have the working name be the final name. And I just thought it was like very, very, I thought it was so basic. I was like, man, retail is such a basic name. But then I thought about it as the canon of it being a musical soundtrack. And then I was like, yeah, no, a musical would be called retail. A musical would be like the vision I had in my head for the longest time was like the words retail in white text, but in the tail part would be in yellow text. And then like rat in Latter-day Saints would be in yellow text, and like the rest of Latter-day Saints would be white text, and it'd be like Latter-day Saints presents retail.
I like that.
Did you ever think about mocking up that idea? Like,
I did,
because I want to ask about the album art and because I really
that's
like
my next question. Yeah,
honestly, but like it sounds like you had multiple ideas from the get about like directions to go with that. How'd you land on what you went with?
Well, the picture, that was a picture that is taken in the Walmart break room. So like, the spirit is there.
That's cool.
The picture was actually taken just haphazardly, like a week before the album started at all. Before the idea was even conceived, the picture was taken.
It was in there. It was in the mind, dude.
It was the seed. It was
like
the seed.
I saw it. I saw the picture, and it was so fucking good that I just like knew from day one what the album cover was like gonna be.
Okay.
And so there was a lot of trying to put shit on it, and it was like, this picture it's just too pure, dude. Like anything I put on it is distracting. Like just that, like, and I think it communicates louder than anything I could put on it.
So it's like the table in like the break room with like the tablecloth.
Yeah.
Is it like a muffin wrapper?
Yeah. So it is a muffin wrapper. The frost of like a frosting, or not a muffin, a cupcake.
Cupcake. It's an
important distinction. Yeah. With the frosting taken off, placed in the middle. It was just a regular smiley face, cupcake, which is also used to be the logo of Walmart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I took a picture of it, kind of lined it up.
Advertising. Just a smiley face.
Yeah, I know.
But when they wiped off the smiley face and put it on there, it made it like just like almost a frown.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, holy shit! Like that's literally what this is. This is like, it was a smiley, and then when you're done with it,
Eldon, he just came over, because I didn't think of that. He just came over and he was like, "Can I like squish it?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, like go for it, like fucking whatever, dude. Do what you need." And he just squishes it, picks it back up, and I'm like, "What the shit?"
you did an art right on the spot.
Yeah. Like he just like, yeah, no. So it was, the symbolism was obvious from the get-go. It was like, yeah, that's how I feel when I'm working. I'm not smiling. you know. And it's yellow, and that's all I needed to suggest Walmart.
I mean, and Lucas, if you've got questions to ask, like I've only got like I think only 1 or 2 of mine left, so
yeah,
you can just go.
Justin, so who do you fucking think you are? Just coming in like your hot shit.
I set up the shot for like an hour beforehand, like I was hot shit.
What how did you feel completing the project? It was a long, arduous process for you. You worked on it a lot. Mm-hmm. It kind of became an all-consuming thing.
Yeah.
What was the process of releasing it like? And finally like showing the world?
It was definitely, it was like the numbness at the end of like a quarter when you just finish finals. And like the entire time you're like thinking like, oh dude, I'm gonna finish finals, and then it's gonna be this big, load off. And sometimes it is, but sometimes you finish finals and you're just like, your brain is just like fried, and you just like don't even, your brain completely forgets the quarter that even happened. Mm-hmm. And your brain is just like, I don't know. It honestly, there was like a weird, like kind of what do I do now, or not really like a what do I do now, but like I had like kind of stopped, as I described it, stopped focusing on my personality like for a really long time. And I thought of myself of just this like person who was just making something. And so there is kind of like, and I don't know, I think it affected my mood a lot, and sort of like the amounts of energy I was like putting into interaction was like a lot less than usual. And so I felt like weird about that, giving off kind of like weird vibes. But I think over quarantine, I theorized that everybody's just gotten a little bit worse at socializing.
I lost my mind, man. I went absolutely fucking crazy. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. I had a moment where I was like one more bad day away from like just like kind of losing it and going ape shit. Yeah, man. So I get it.
Being the person not to put the shopping cart back.
Yeah.
Fucking check out.
Become a monster.
The most heinous.
I don't think we've talked about it on the podcast, but
I don't think so either.
We've got this concept, shopping cart theory. Andrew turned me onto it. That like that if the worst people in society, like the bare minimum for being a good moral person is putting your shopping cart back after you're done in the corral. Yeah. Like instead of just leaving it out in the parking lot. And I have a theory that all the people that do that shop at Walmart.
That put it back or don't put it back.
Don't put it back.
Yeah.
It's, I think for fucking sure Walmart, I've seen a bunch just everywhere. I think the real question comes as the worker. I mean, Andrew, do you put it back? When you get off of work, you're not even working. You don't even work for this fucking place. And like, what, like you put it back? Say you were shopping and you're a Walmart. Do you put it back? Do you give a shit?
Well, I'll say this. When I worked at Walmart for like my first 2 or 3 weeks, I was a cart pusher. And for my last like 2 or 3 weeks, I think I was also a cart pusher. And from that, you just kind of go like, hey, listen, like fucking put it back. Like, I don't know. Like, you don't have any, and that's actually the reason why it's like the moral, like, what would you say? The moral like baseline foundation. Yeah. Is because you have no obligation legally or even technically to do it. Like you said, like there's employees that do it. You don't fucking work there. Why do you got to do it? Right. But it's like, it's 100% out of the goodness of your heart to just put it back and be like, there's no reason why I don't do it, but there's also no reason to do it. So it is literally at the moral precipice.
So this is why it's a test.
Yeah. Why it's a test.
Okay. Well, I'll say for myself, I was in a dark place for really, I think, like I said, I became this persona of this, funk rock retail
Don't
worker,
say
you know.
it.
Yeah.
Fuck it, you know. I was not buying it at
You'd
the
go to
time.
the parking lot and take him out of the corral and just fucking
Yeah.
like spread him around the parking lot.
Start pushing around.
You know,
Fuck, dude. That's so
I'd probably
awesome.
do it nowadays though, maybe. Reformed. I'm a content creator now.
No, dude, that's so great. I think it's so awesome. So I got a question about your EP.
Yeah.
What? So the song names have very definitely like older pop punk emo vibes. Just like sometimes like the name of the song isn't in the lyrics of the song, or sometimes the name of the song has to do almost nothing with the song itself, but more of like the meaning behind the song. And so they seem pretty meta. Like some of the names, like obviously like Mind Aside, now you explained to me, is about how you just need to get your mind distracted about something. And that makes sense why you would call it that. But then there's one, ANX1, that symbol, 05.
Yeah.
What is the what is that? What does that mean?
Probably like the shittiest name of the entire album.
No, I like it.
Oh, really? Okay.
I like it. It's so cool. It's different. It like
Thanks.
it grabs your attention. If you know, I've seen albums where the names are always like 2 words, and it's always called like, you know, not to shit on any specific genre, but it'll be like My Truck, My Girl, My Dog, My House. And it's just like, you're like, I don't give a fuck about these things.
Why not
so
Our House?
Why not Our House?
Sunset.
Yeah, just like just weird stuff. But I like it. It makes me kind of like go, okay, what is this about? And it makes me intrigued. So especially that the fact that it's a concept. So what is the name? Like, what is its relevance, I guess?
The intrigue is so much cooler than the answer. It like kind of looks like it spells anxious.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
I see it.
I hear the disappointment in your voice. If you want to edit that part.
No, dude, we don't edit. We don't edit here.
We fucking don't. You're right. Yeah. That's okay. Yeah, so
fuck, dude, that's so funny.
I guess I like say it Angst 105. I think that kind of sounds cool when you say it like that, but I feel like it's the most not memorable song name.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just an interlude. It's just kind of like so it's not a big deal.
Okay. I like Heartbreak Parking Lot because it does sound like it's the idea of a parking lot. Like when you work in a retail store, you hang out in a parking lot so much more than you think you would. And you have a lot of moments, like all your lunch breaks are out there before shift. Right after your shift, you hang out with your team for like half an hour to an hour sometimes. Weekends where it's a Friday. Dude, it's so crazy. That's so nuts.
I would frequently get offered. I would never do that shit on break.
I wouldn't do dabs on break. That'd be fucking insane. I mean, I might.
Wild.
Yeah, that'd be. Just go back to
lunch break though. That shit's an hour.
That shit's an hour. You can get high and then back to not high in an hour.
I was able to go home.
Really? You live that
great.
Close? That's
yeah.
We would go to, because the only places that were near us were McDonald's and Carl's Jr. Oh, and they just put in a Taco Bell like right before I left. Yeah. So I mean, you'd think, what do you think we're eating every single lunch for, you know, the 6 months that I was there? But yeah, no, I mean, so I guess if it starts off in that sort of way, the album talking about setting up the scene, what does it conclude? What does the story conclude? What is the I guess moral outcome of the story, if your story even has that, because it doesn't have to, but I guess that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm like kind of wondering if it does. Touching on the name topic that you were talking about, I think you described them as meta, and that is like exactly what they are, in the sense that like through the lyrics and like a little bit of the lyrics and the titles of all the track and of the EP are what is suggesting that it is a musical and that it's a musical soundtrack. Like intervention is like, you know, it's, you know, like, you know, intervention in like a play. Mind Aside, like an aside in like, you know, a fucking play.
I mean, I know these are all very stage sort of like, not necessarily what the audience would call it, but what like the stagehands would call it.
Yeah, exactly. In this like play that doesn't exist, that exists only in this dude's like mind or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's just it was just interesting that you were able to pick up on that. But you know, for the conclusion, it's kind of like you know, it's that interaction of that naivety. It's the clash of the naivety of like the two personalities in retail, of just like, you know, the naive guy who thinks he's like above it all and just can like has just got more important shit to do, and the people who are just like have to be there. I really think it's kind of about like, be petty as long as you're moving on, you know. I think the final song is really like the most okay fine like song ever. Like it's very petty, it's very like kind of fine, whatever. Like it's kind of just like, you know, move on.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that one was probably one of the more from the heart for you, like cathartic wise? Was it like the most cathartic?
What's interesting, it was actually the first song that I wrote.
Really?
Yeah,
that's cool. That's really cool. I love it when that happens. Which it's surprising how often it does, because then you write the rest of the songs and you're like, oh, where's this last one gonna go? And you're like, it actually, ironically, it is the beginning, but it kind of feels like the end. And you're like, let's put it at the end.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I wrote the last song, and then I wrote the first song, and then it was like filling in the middle. Which I think it's the way to do it, kind of.
Yeah, actually, that's how my last album was. I wrote the first song first, then I wrote the last song next, and I went, how are we gonna get here? We got to get here somehow. And so then I had to basically, you know, you got the two bread and you got to make the rest of the sandwich, and you're like, dude, oh shit, yeah,
it guides you. You know, you have to think about the beginning and the end are important.
It's comforting to know where you're going, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, it is like a dissonant album in that, like, it's you know, it sets up the expectation of like, you know, a very cliche classic kind of exchange, and then, you know, like the guy essentially just gets told to like, you know, fuck off. It's just like, you know, if you're so much better, then just leave, you know. And then it's just like, fucking fine. If I were to wrap up the concept, the story,
no, I think it's great, dude.
It's honestly the story of one conversation, or like a couple conversations. It could take place in one day.
Yeah, that's what's great about this story, is that, like you said, it could take place over the course of like years. It could take place over the course of a day. It could take place in a matter of a conversation. This EP is not restricted by its place or its time or even who it's talking about or who it's talking to. I think that this is a great EP that like everybody is able to relate to, and everybody's able to digest, as well as like the thought, like, yes, it's called retail, and obviously like knowing your story in your life, you're obviously talking about like a Walmart or like a specific store, but I think anybody could take that into their work and just be like, this is it's about anything that's mundane and routine, which is 99.9% of all jobs.
The 9 to 5, man.
And it's literally, and it's just, everybody could relate to it, and that's why I think it's honestly like a great EP. Now, I think you answered this question, but do you have any plans in the future to maybe do a retail part 2 or a maybe a Latter-day Saints like second album, or
customer
in that
service?
Any sort of follow-up, you know? And you don't have to say yes.
I'll say the honest answer in that, like, there's pretty like, I like that would need to be, I'm open to the idea, but that would need to be an external thing. Like, I'm not planning on it at all. If like, you know, blows up or something, you know. If like there's like,
well, hey, this podcast is gonna fucking
dude, you better watch out. You might get like 15 people checking it out, so you better wait for that wave.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like, you know, that's kind of
came from.
that's that's definitely my entry of like, yeah, I would want like multiple people being like, yeah, where's more of this? Is there more of this? I definitely think because in my head it is, I like, when I hear it, there's some songs that I'm choreographing the stage in my head. And me and my friends, Jared and Lindy, who are like, massive theater people, like, and were very supportive when they heard it, and in the vision, like very, very, very integral when they first did hear it at, like near the end. They're also, like I said, theater people, and they saw like it as production. Like they were like, dude, like this is a soundtrack to like a sick fucking like musical. And so I always like reminisced of like, oh yeah, dude, what if it just got like big enough to where it's like, oh yeah, dude, okay, it's like, we're making a show out of it. Then it's then side A is like takes place during the day. I would make another 6 songs that would be night shift, and it would be that like, and it would be like a different group of people, and it would like tackle different concepts, probably more about like capitalist corruption or whatever, as like opposed to like the like romantic naivety kind of thing. Like there would be some like very revolutionary, like just people working at night.
That's cool. I like that.
So that's, that's like, every, if that happens, cool. That's probably where it would go. And then I would feel good because it would be like a whole, like, oh yeah, it's like a 12 song like album, like this full like story. But
it
yeah,
is
like,
full in itself. I don't think
yeah,
it needs that. I mean, even like the best films sometimes, and I use films as a reference a lot because it's like storytelling in a way, but sometimes movies are better just as like one singularity, like Signs, right? It's a great film, with Mel Gibson or whatever, but like it's a great film and it's amazing, and you're like, don't do another one. Like it's, if you like it, watch it again, but like if you want another one, like you're gonna fuck it up, so don't do, you know what I mean? Like you might make it different. Well, not fuck it up, sorry, I didn't mean it like, I meant like,
oh, no, yeah,
fuck it up, Justin. I meant like I meant it just would, you don't need to do that. So I mean, don't feel like you need to do that, but like you said, if you got like 100 people out there being like, we want another one, then then you would feel the push for it.
I'd feel inspired.
Maybe an opportunity to turn it into a stage production.
Yeah, like, it would be interesting to see it like tackle even greater heights than trying to do exactly what I did again. Yeah, and I also just, definitely have like I said, my roots in pop punk are like of cynicism and of like pointing and laughing. And so like I've definitely, I can feel like there's a lot of redundancy in pop punk. There's a lot of doing the same thing, and there's not really a problem with that, actually. Like, as far as like, making an album, it gave me massive perspective on all music, in that it's all fucking hard and all like, someone putting in hours and someone cutting off really, really real shit to like, to do something important for them, so but I've definitely made fun of like albums of like, because this was very inspired by American Idiot, and I'm just like, I look at 21st Century Breakdown, and I'm like, they were just like, dude, American Idiot 2, let's fucking go. Like, let's do this shit. We got so much money, dude. Did you see that? Like,
did you see that?
Yeah. Did you see that? Like the fucking charts. Like,
yeah.
So it was definitely the executives calling them, being like, that was great, do it again. And they were like, oh, we're gonna try this time. And they're like, no, do that again. And then they were like, okay. So, but yeah, definitely. So Lucas, you take the floor. Do you got any questions for your buddy?
I mean, I'm just happy you've come on the show. I'm glad you come and you talk about it. I didn't had any idea about the the stage play sort of side of that. I didn't pick up on I mean, I see the Mind Aside kind of
you can't hear a lot of the vocals, and I'll go ahead and comment the rest of them
put the
on that
lyrics on.
Rat 69420 account. That's mine.
Oh, is that
is that you? Okay,
another lyrics on it.
I think it's like the second one.
Okay. Because because I definitely like your vocals.
Yeah,
I like the style.
69 420.
That's so awesome. I love that. That makes my heart so warm. That's so great. No, but I think it's great that, I mean, was there like a choice to turn the vocals down or for whatever reason, or was it just like you made it and then you realized later you're like, oh, the vocals could have been up? Like, I mean, is it a production thing or a stylistic thing? It doesn't matter.
Probably in reality a little bit like both. It's probably definitely both. Like I'm not a master at fucking singing or mixing, but definitely I was like, I want the music to come through. And I did the vocals last, and I'm like, man, I spent so much fucking time on this music, dude. Like, and I have to just fucking screech over it. I just cannot believe that I had to like, to me, it was like, I have to mutilate what I've been working on. For, like,
turn it down to put your vocals over.
So I was just like, yeah. And I was like, I've heard so much pop punk that it's like, yeah, I super can't understand what they're saying. And I'm like having a good time. I'm like, I can understand a little bit of what they're saying. And then I like get to like put in honestly, that leaves more opportunity for more listeners to like pick up on stuff and then put in their own meaning, which I think is like, much better than just you hearing me over the not hearing any of like this sick fucking music shit I've been working on for like ever.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, when I used to make music, I used to have my vocals turned way down, and that was obviously like Tool does the same thing. Tool does it because they want it to feel like a band and not just like a singer with a background. And then I did it because I was very not confident in my voice. So I'd want the music to kind of cover it. But I think it's cool that you did it because you wanted the music to shine through. And you know the vocals are important and they stand out in the mix in their own way. But obviously, like you said, like the vocals were turned down a little bit. But I don't think that takes away from it. I don't think that makes somebody go like, oh, I can't even hear the vocals. Nobody's gonna do that. I think it's good. And if they're like that, then they're not the type of person to enjoy it anyways. It seems like it has way more of a thought than something like that. So, but okay, so I gotta ask, what is in the nearby future for your music? Do you have any plans, anything that you're working on right now, anything that you got cooking in the oven, anything on the back burner?
Yeah. For music, I don't think anything super like soon, like on the back burner, big like ideas for kind of I'll say funk hip hop remix kind of flamingos kind of video game punk. I have another like a whole other aesthetic that I'm like trying to like capture, and so I think that is like gonna be the next big like magnum opus, like me trying to like get a big like thing out. And so I think that's like that's pretty far down. Like that's pretty like I think that would even be like a 2-year project.
Oh wow.
And like
that's cool, though.
Not 2 years long, but like I'm like collecting kind of stuff to tackle that project right now. I don't think I could do it yet. It's like a project that's in my foresights.
It's in the pre-production right now.
Yeah, that's how I would describe it. Other than that, like just the other week, I've been playing like I played live with like 2 other dudes, like a full band, kind of for the first time.
That's awesome.
Super fucking fun.
Dude, that's great.
Out. Yeah. Me and 2 other Camerons, and we just fucking jammed.
No, but were you playing like your music, or were you just straight up?
Yeah. Because they've heard it and they like it, and they're like, yeah, dude, like let's play that shit. Like, yeah, no, there's another track on my YouTube called How This Feels. And that's probably, if you were to ask me what my favorite like song that I've done is, it's that, because it's just a guitar track. And it's just pretty much a solo for just like 2 minutes. And we like performed that, and it just was like felt so good.
That's cool.
I'm really, really not a live musician. I really consider myself more like a recording dude. And so I'm trying to like branch out into that.
That's fantastic, dude. I think phenomenal. And maybe you and I can work on sometime. We could do like a live stream. We could try to get you to do like a live set or something.
Dude, that would be fucking really cool. Like I'm here in Vancouver, so
dude, yeah. All right, well, you know what? I think we got to wrap this thing up. But do you have any quick messages for any other starving artists out there?
Any other starving artists? Well, like plugs, promos. Check out fucking DoodleDudster on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. That's where you can check out my art and graphic design and shit, which is like a other thing that I do.
We didn't even touch on a whole facet of
art.
You
know, we'll have to do a whole nother episode some other time and talk about just your graphic design.
This is the fucking Justin podcast now. This is
take it over.
No, I would love to come on for another episode sometimes. I've listened to every episode and kind of like await each of them. I enjoy your guys' conversations.
Hey, that's awesome, man. Thanks. We really appreciate the support, like in any way. So yeah, but definitely, guys, please check out DoodleDudster on YouTube and IG. You said Instagram.
Yeah.
Yep, and Instagram, and check out his. I'm gonna put a link in the description below for his YouTube playlist of his EP album called Retail. It's phenomenal, and I'm really excited for you guys to hear it. Please leave some good comments, leave some likes on that thing. So send him some love, send him some support. Obviously, check me out on Spotify at New Management, and check out the obviously Instagram for the Starving Artist Podcast.
Yeah. And if you want comedy, laughspdx.com in Portland, Oregon. Come get some chuckles.
Yes. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Starving Artists. You guys have a wonderful day and keep eating out there. We are all starving artists.